Morning, welcome to Something Saturday. So, how's this gorgeous tree in the background here? I actually scored it from church the other day because they were just throwing them out, and I thought that's sacrilege. I can't possibly have that thrown out. So there was four of them, and four of us managed to score one each. So I just think it's so pretty. It's silver and gold leaves, and oh my gosh. Anyway, today I thought I would show you something that I think is a really nice present idea. So I'm going to switch you around and show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so I buy these notebooks from Kmart. Um, and they're just really handy little notebooks. So the last one that I bought for myself was this one here, and I think my chair's going to disappear downhill if I leave it. So this particular one also has the elastic that goes around it, and I like so this is my sermon notebook. So when I go to church, I write down my notes for my sermons in it. And the cool thing is that because it's spiral bound, you can add a little bit of ribbon to it, and then you know where you've got to with it. So you can open it up at the right page and things, and you can just make it look really pretty. And this is something that I've used in the past to give to people as presents, and it always seems to be quite appreciated. So I'm hoping that they're not just being nice. However, let me chuck that up there, and I thought I would show you how I do this. So let's move that away, and I have just received the Earth and Elegance Designer Series paper, so I thought we might use it. Let's go me. Don't you think my nails look cool too? It's my birthday coming up, so I bought myself this new nail kit thing. It's Sistico nails, and they're so pretty. Anyway, moving on from my nails. So the Earth and Elegance Designer Series paper, it uses different colours. So it's got copper clay, grey granite, misty moonlight, moody mauve, pebbled path, pecan pie, and pretty peacock. Pretty peacock is one of my favourite colours. And I just thought I would quickly show you the different designs that are in it. So what I've done is I've already turned them over so that we can actually see each one, and hopefully I'm in the frame here. So that's on the back of this one. How cool is this piece? This is the one I thought I might use on my notepad. And that is on the back of it. Then there is that one with that on the back of it. That one with that on the back of it. Ooh, oh, look at that, my nails match it. This one, and look, my little nails match this one. With this one on the back of it. Yes, that's right. And the last one is that with that on the back of it. So let me just move myself back to this one here, because that's the one I want to take out. And let's pop these over there so that we're not having those in the way. What you will need to do is make a decision as to how much you want to fill this out. So as you can see with this one, I actually had specific paper that I had this section on that I really wanted to use, because this was one of my favorite papers many years ago. And I finally got it out of my stash of papers and went, you know what, I should really use this rather than just having it sit there, because let's face the facts that we have some papers that we're just so in love with that we don't actually use them. I'm pretty sure you know what I'm talking about. So that was another one of the same papers that, again, I just absolutely loved it, and I couldn't bear to use it. So eventually I thought, right, that's it. I can use it for myself. So that's what I did. But yeah, you need to decide how big you want this to be. So for this particular one, I'm actually thinking that I might almost cover the whole page. So you do need to measure it. Yep, measuring. I would like it to have, I think, about that much of a gap. So I'm reckoning that I'm going to go with this one at 20 centimetres. And I'm just going to find myself a bit of a notepad and pen so I can write this down. So I want it 20 centimetres long, and I want to have about the same sort of gap on the sides. So I've gone with just slightly more than that. So let's go about there. I reckon about 13 centimetres wide. 13 centimetres wide. And that's going to be one that goes underneath this. So I'm thinking that it's going to be either this colour or this colour. So we've got copper clay and we've got the Pretty Peacock. As I have previously mentioned, Pretty Peacock is one of my favourite colours, and I think I'm going to have to go with that because, you know, this is actually for me. So don't often make things just for me, and it feels slightly indulgent doing so. But I want it to be that size. And and you won't believe this, but oh no, there it is. It's just about to say I moved my cutter into the kitchen. That would have been really smart. All right, 13 centimetres wide. Let's just pop that over here. So when you're using your cutting board, just push your paper up against the side here. Make sure that it is right up against the side and the dark grey is your cutter. So you can cut the 13 centimetres that way, and then we want to cut 20 centimetres. So we need to move this arm out, bring it along to the 20 centimetre mark and cut off. Should be about 1 centimetre that cuts off the end. And that will become there, and that should centre quite nicely. It does, so I'm quite happy with that. All right, let's investigate and see what sort of inches would look good with this, because bear in mind that whilst I measured this A4 paper in centimetres, I measured this in inches. and I kind of like to keep it in inches because then I know what I'm doing with it. However, oh, I could go 4.5 inches. That would look all right. 4.5 inches by, so that gives me about that much of a gap on there. Oi. Yeah. I have a weird way of measuring things. So then if I want about that much, then it's probably going to be about 7.25 inches. 7.25 inches, all right. Yeah, so apologies that I have a really weird way of measuring things, but I do, so that's the way I am. So 4.5 inches, 7.25, and what I want to do is I'm actually quite keen to have this sort of like coming downwards and hanging almost like a plant. That's my aim with it. So 7.25, which is longer than this. So back it out again. 7.25 inches takes us to there, which I think will be fine. That's the piece that I'm not going to use, which actually will be really good for the front of a card. So perfect. 7.25 inches by 4.5. So 4. There's my 4. There's the half. So 4.5 there. And that should look quite nice on there. I wonder if it needs another little thingo underneath it. So you can build up your layers as well. Oh, now I don't know. Oh my goodness, sometimes I think it would just be so handy if I could actually hear comments from people while I'm doing this. You know what, I don't mind that. I'm going to do it. So then that means that I'm going to be really awkward and kind of eye this. So I think that it only needs a small amount around the outside. So I'm just going to use my fingernail to give myself a little bit of a notch in that. And cut myself that piece. I reckon that'll look quite nice. And I'm going to do the same thing here and just give myself a little bit of a notch. Obviously you could use a pencil to do that, and then that would save sort of like notching the edge of the cardstock, but it doesn't really give it, doesn't sort of harm the cardstock in any way. And I think that looks quite nice. I'm quite happy with that. Good. All right, there was one more thing that I actually wanted to do with this front piece, and we're actually doing it this way up, I just remembered, is I had this idea that I could, because I'm using it as my sermon notebook, under his wings you will find refuge, and because this is kind of coming down, I thought that would look really nice on there. So I will grab that out, and oh, that's right, I've moved all my stuff around because I also ended up with a little cupboard underneath my desk as well, in the big church clean out thing. So I did quite well out of it, actually. I feel slightly embarrassed that I did, but they were going to get rid of it and it was going to go to the dump, and I just thought that's silly. You know, I'm not keen on things going to the dump if they don't have to. So we're going to need a bit of Versamark and some embossing powders. So my embossing powders, I have this I don't know what you call it. It's actually for little coffee thingos. You know, I don't drink coffee, so this is completely out of my realm of things. But you know those machines that you can get and you put your little coffee doodahs into them. Well, it also, I discovered, just about happens to fit my embossing powders. So I bought one, and this is what I use to store my embossing powders in. So I'm just going to puff over the area that I'm going to put this into. We're also going to need a bit of scrap paper. And I'm a gold girl, so where's my gold embossing powder? There it is. Oh dear, this Versamark's a bit sorry for itself. I think this might have been the one I found under the table the other day. Perhaps we'll try this one. Doesn't look much better, but I do know that the colour, once it's on here, doesn't transfer onto the paper. So under his wings you will find refuge. Let's hope it's going to be level. Otherwise I could have it on an angle, which, not sure I really want it on an angle. That looks pretty good. Let's just tip this back into here again. There we go. Cover over my Versamark and stand it up the other way round. And then bring in the heat gun. So the heat gun, I'm sure I've said this before, but it has two settings. So the first setting is just push it halfway, and that gives you just a nice warm heat, although it does get a bit hot if you hold your hand over it, but a little bit like a hairdryer. And the second setting is your heat setting that you want for this. So then we're just gonna this is just the coolest thing watching this. I do find that the best way to do my heat setting is to do it in order. So you start at one side and you work your way up and you work your way down and you work your way up and down. And then that way you can just look at it and you know that the whole thing's being covered, as opposed to sort of like just waving it around and going, oh, I wonder if that's hat worked. And then when you go to brush it, half of it gets brushed off, and that's not good. So hopefully you can see that that now says under his wings you will find refuge. And I like the fact that it's quite understated. I'm not really big on having something that's really out there, as it were. which is ironic because I really like jewellery that's blingy. So who knows? Don't know why I'm like that. Anyway, gonna add a little bit of my Tombow to this. Just going to make sure that I get it right to the edges of this bit, because I do want the corners to end up glued in place. And I have a new Tombow, so that's exciting. Oh, and there we go. I should have used my glue mat. And I bet there's at least one or two of you going, "No, Heather, you should have used your glue mat," even before I got to that stage. Thing I will say, when you do heat embossing, it does curly cardstock slightly, but if you were to leave it, which obviously I haven't this time, your cardstock will just sort of like reabsorb a little bit of the moisture in the atmosphere and flatten off again. There we go, that's nice. And a little bit more. And yeah, I'm not using my glue mat again. See whether I can actually manage to stay in the paper this time. So aiming again for the middle there, and the reason I'm using the Tombow is that it just gives me that little bit of wiggle room, which is what I want as I lay this down, to make sure that it's going to be exactly right. Oh, that's really nice. I like that. And I don't think there's a right or wrong way to this notepad. Very nice. And let's just do the same down this end. There we go. So then all I need to do is just find something nice to decorate the back as well. So I'll have a little look through and decide what I'm going to decorate the back up with. If you would like to see it, head on over to my blog and check it out. And yeah, I hope that you have fun doing this as well. Just remember that, you, as I say, you can tie a little bit of ribbon onto there and then have that so it comes down inside. Little bit of something matching, so I will probably find possibly my ribbon that matches this copper doodah. Anyway, check out my blog for the finished article, and thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you have found it interesting and that you know, you have a go at making some as well. Okay, thanks, bye. Hey, I'm just hopping back on for a minute because I thought I would show you how I've actually created this part as well. So this is before I'm putting on my back cover. I just decided that I would also quite like a just a bit of elastic to go around here. So I have this bit of elastic that's been hanging around. I think it was from one of those things that you hang your glasses off. Anyway, I think I bought it some time ago intending to use it and never got round to it, so I've snipped off the ends, and literally all I've done is just cut myself a hole into each of these, tied it onto the back there. And there was one other thing I thought I would do as well, is actually add an envelope into here so that I can tuck things if I end up with extra bits of paper from anything, then I can just tuck those into the envelope as well. So then that's just going to be able to keep my book closed as it travels around. And then my back sheet, which I've done, will just sit over top and disguise the holes there. So yeah, just thought I would quickly hop back on and show you that. Okay, see you next time. Thanks, bye.